What's up, everybody? Happy weekend if you are watching this now, or whenever you are watching this. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. I wanted to shoot this video real quick because I wanted to go over a super important principle of the universe and how it works. And I think this will help you guys drastically if you let it. So, um, basically, this principle is called that which you resist persists. Whenever you're going after a goal of yours, whether it's, for a lot of you guys, you want to make $100,000 in a year, $200,000 in a year, $10,000 in a single month, $5,000, whatever that is for you, whenever you're going after something, you are starting to play parts in this process I'm about to show you here that's on my whiteboard. So that which you resist, pretty much summed up, can happen at any point. It could happen in a relationship maybe that you're holding on to. It could happen with objection handling. Maybe you're resisting receiving objections, and then, well, you're going to get objections, a lot of them, right? Um, so this basically will, I'm hoping by the end of this video, what you will grab from it is that that things just are, and I'll show you that in a second. And there's no need to resist, and I'm going to prove to you that that which you resist does persist. So let me ask you a question. So have you ever been falling asleep at night? Maybe you have to get up super early the next morning, and maybe earlier than you're used to, or maybe you have a big day tomorrow, right? We've all had that sort of stuff. I think everybody can relate to like Christmas morning, right? Being super excited for Christmas morning. And the night before you go to bed, your parents put you to bed a little earlier than usual, obviously, so they can wrap the gifts. And you're just like, you cannot go to bed. Everyone's experienced this because of the excitement, but it's also because they're resisting falling asleep because they just can't wait for tomorrow, right? And so, what ends up happening? You think to yourself, "Oh, I gotta go to bed. I gotta go to bed. Close my eyes. I'll get there quicker. I gotta go to bed." And you don't end up going to bed very soon. So, why does that happen, right? The same thing is true if you're resisting, right, looking like a fool in front of the girl you like. Well, then you're gonna look like a fool in front of the girl that you like. Or if you ever seen the guy who just seems to get all the girls, it's because he's like, I don't want these girls, and then he just has the girls, right? So, all right, I'm gonna explain how this works. So you have the mind down here. Let me see if I can actually lower this a little bit so you guys can see it well. Oh, we're getting intimate tonight. All right. So if you're looking at this is the mind, right? So whenever you're resisting something, when you say, I don't want something, what you're putting out to the universe is you're saying, I don't want X thing to happen. And then you are literally saying, because you are powerful, I have that thing. Sorry, I'm looking at my camera trying to explain this, but I really should just look over here. So when you're saying I don't want to lose this sale. I got to make this sale, right? What happens? I don't want to lose this sale, and you're gonna bring back into your universe. I am losing the sale. I am going to lose this sale, and so in an ideal circumstance, right? Same thing. The I don't. I have to go to bed. This right. I have to go to bed, which equals I don't. I can't go to sleep, right? I have to go to sleep. No, you're gonna get back. I can't go to sleep, right? So whenever you are wanting something, so you're saying I don't want to um, lose all my money, for example. I don't want to lose this sale. You're going to bring into your universe situations, events, things that happen that will make you lose that sale. So in an ideal world, you're just disconnected from the outcome whatsoever, right? And so this is one of the things that I practice when I am going on my sales calls or when bringing on new clients, right? Like the idea is you have zero resistance and no desire. I know that may sound weird, right? Especially coming from the guy who's Christian, that might sound weird because you know that Jesus says, when you pray, you shall have whatsoever you desire. It says, when you pray, believe that you have received those things and you shall have whatever you desire. Right? But that is not contradicting this process because this is a law of the universe. It's actually adding on to the process, and I'll explain that here in a second. I dropped my marker. So it's adding on to it. So if you look at this, right, if you have no resistance, you don't really care if you get objections, and you don't really care to get their money. Well, that then you just see things as, yeah, it just is, right? So, oh, I don't really, and this is the ideal situation because when there's no resistance, right? As you've learned, when there is resistance, you bring in more resistance essentially. So this is the principle of that which you resist persists. So whenever you are resisting something, you are going to, that thing is going to persist back onto you. So if you're like, oh, I don't want to lose my job, I don't want to lose all my money, and then my whole life goes down to turmoil, right? And then what ends up happening? Because you don't want that thing, you bring that thing, that very thing in, because you are very powerful, and things must remain to be balanced, right? So that's super important, is to understand that things must be balanced, because there's not a single one-sided anything on this planet. To say I don't want something to happen, you're assuming that there's more drawbacks to not having that thing than benefits of not having it, right? So like if you're saying, "Oh, I don't want to lose my girlfriend," you're seeing nothing but bad things happening by losing her, and no positive things by losing her, right? When in all reality, the law of matter and conservation of matter is, and I know I'm not using the correct term here, but law of conservation says that nothing is destroyed, right? Things just change, right? So if I take wood, I chop down a tree, you think, oh, that tree's dead. No, I burn the wood, and then that wood turns into ash, and that ash goes and fertilizes the ground, and it becomes more life. So things are always changing. They're never destroyed. They're never they just change forms. You can't literally create anything. Only God can do that. You can't literally destroy anything, right? So knowing this, all things must be balanced, called the law of polarity, right? Which is, there's no one-sided anything. There's no one-sided hand. That does not exist. There are two sides to my hand. There's no one-sided coin. There are two sides to every coin, right? I'm sorry, I was looking for my Bitcoin. I have a little coin that's a Bitcoin, but anyways, so what I'm trying to explain to you here is, you want to get to the point where you have no resistance. There's no desire, and there's no, because what Jesus says, to go back to what I was saying, what Jesus says, he says, when you pray, believe that you received those things which you desire, and you shall receive that. Believe that you have received them, and you shall have that stuff. So when you believe that you have received it already, there's no like, oh, I want it. Because when you put out, I want something, that automatically assumes you don't have that thing. When you put out, I don't want that thing, right? If you're saying, oh, I don't want to feel this fear, I don't want to feel this, you're putting out that, oh, I do feel this, and it just persists. So when you get to the point where there's no resistance, you stop caring, basically. You have nothing to win, nothing to gain, nothing to lose, nothing to hide, and you can just be free. Then you're going to have much better results in life. And I would even argue that, look, because there are negative things with being at 10K a month. There are bad things that happen when you're at $1 million years, right? And I know that I'm saying this because most people think, oh, if I just had a Lambo, oh, if I just had 100K a month, oh, if I just had 10K a month, all the problems in my world would be solved. And that's definitely not true. I can tell you from experience. At least at 10, 20K a month, I can tell you from experience. 100K, haven't been there, but hopefully here soon. And if not, who cares? Hopefully you guys are getting the point here. But the verse in the Bible, which is believe that you have received them. If you've already received them, God's trying to get you to put like, oh, I already have it. And if you put out, I have it, right, and you're not resisting not having it, well, then the universe says, okay, you have that thing. So how this relates to sales is like this. Look, a lot of times people are resisting. They are resisting. Oh, I don't want to hear objections. Oh, I have to get this sale, right? I have to get this sale. Why? You don't have to get anything. You can do whatever you want, right? So if you are putting out no resistance, no desire, you might say, well, what's the point, right? You just end up like not wanting anything, and then you just see things as they are. That sounds boring. No, when you look at people like the Iman Gadzis of the world, you ever just notice, and I only say Iman because I know a lot of my students kind of jive with Iman and his lifestyle. When you look at these people, they just make success look so effortless and easy. They aren't doing it from a place of wanting something, right? they're doing it from a place of like looking at a chessboard and saying, okay, I'm going to move this here and this here and this here. They're looking at things very objectively. All they are doing is intending to win, and if they don't win, who cares? Everybody loses. So I can say this from experience, from experiencing other successful people, and also experience a little success myself. That anytime I actually got to where I wanted, it's not from a place of, oh, I want this thing, because the very essence of sales is, and just think about it like this. I mean, in the dating game, because they are very similar. If you're like really wanting the chick, then you're not going to get the chick. If you are really, really desiring um, to be with a woman, or to be with maybe you want a nice Christian woman. Everybody puts an infatuation and a bunch of positives with, oh, finding the one, right? Um, but there are negatives with finding the one, right? And you have to look for those things because they exist, because all things in the universe are balanced, okay? So you want to get to the point where it just is. So if you get a sale or if you don't get a sale, who cares at the end of the day, right? You might think it's so bad to get fired. It comes so natural for us to think this way, because that's our flesh wanting to secure a future and feel safe and secure, right? So, but I can tell you, I've been fired from like 10 jobs before. I can tell you that being fired, if I hadn't been fired and I was just so secure in every job I ever had, I might not be where I am today, and I'm much more successful than I would have ever imagined at 25. And I'm sure I can tell you that most kids that are 25 have not experienced my success. And I'm not saying, oh, wow, look how cool I am. It's just, you know, when you get fired, you assume it's a really bad thing, and it's really not. It can be an awesome thing, right? And you could just move up in life, right? And you move on to new levels, right? So, anyways, you want to get to the point where it's just you're intending on winning. So when I get on a sales call, the very essence of a sales call is, I don't need this sale. I don't need you as a client. I don't need your money. People will be able to feel that from you. This is what's called selling on your back foot. The only way you can is by coming from this perspective. Because when you're in the mind and, oh, I don't want to lose the sale. I don't want to hear all these objections. You're taking it so seriously that you don't allow yourself to have a little bit of fun during the call. You don't allow yourself to be a little playful. And so when you're coming from a place of this, by the way, if you guys want to put it like this, this is called grind, hustle, and this is called flow. Right? So we're all trying to get into a flow. You know what they say? Oh, time flies by when you're having a great time, right? That's because you get into a flow. And you're in control of flow to some extent. If you can stop resisting things, um, and just realize, because when you're resisting things, just realize you're seeing more negatives with not having it than you are with positives of not having it. And you're seeing more positives with having the thing than you are negatives with having the thing. Right? And so you have to go out of your way and find out, well, that's not true though. You know it's not true because the law of polarity says there are positives and negatives. Everything equals out, so everything is balanced, meaning there's nothing there. If you go to the quantum level of any piece of matter, you will find there is nothing there if you go deep enough. And so the very essence of everything is that there's nothing there. It's our perception that creates these things. So I know I'm going very high level, and this may seem woo-woo to you guys, but I promise you, if you can start to understand this, it's going to make a big, big difference in your sales. Because if you're just coming from a place of, you know, and I promise you guys, by the way, I have never gotten to 10K a month without first being up here. And I definitely have been down here very many times in my life, okay? And I'm sure you guys have too. And every single person who's ever lived has that is of cognitive function, right? And is of consciousness. So anyways, so you guys want to get into a flow state where things just come easy and things just seem to fly by and you're having a good time while doing it, then you need to learn how to stop resisting the things that you don't want and realize that you can start to balance this stuff out by just looking for it. Because going back to the Persuasion 101 masterclass, frames create focus. So oftentimes you put a frame on something like, oh, because we focus on one thing, right? Which is, oh, which may give us anxiety, it may give us faith. You guys learn this in this little stick figure. I don't have the time to pull it up. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, frames create focus. So we focus, right? What I mean by frames create focus is that if you put a picture around a picture, if you put a picture inside a picture frame, the reason to do that is so people will focus on the picture. And so naturally, as human beings, we focus on either the positive aspect of things or the negative aspect of things. And in an ideal world, you can either focus on the positive, right? Focus on the positive, but only after having contentment. Well, what's that mean? Well, I mean, understanding that when you come from a place of no resistance, that is called contentment and intent, right? You're cool with not having something, and you're cool with having it either way. Doesn't matter, and you can be content and enjoy life either way. This is where true power comes from, and people will want more of that. If you put out on a sales call, "I need you as a client. I need your money," you're going to pull in, "I don't have your money," right? Or sorry, "I need you as a client," because you're powerful. When you say "I need you," that assumes I don't have you. So then you're going to pull in, "I don't have you as a client. I don't have your money," right? If I was in this program and I was like, "I need you to have results. I want you to have results so bad," you'd be like, "This guy's weird." And you'd be like, "Well, I'm not going to have results. I'm not going to have these things," because you just come from a place of intent. I mean, I intend for you to win, which is why I create videos like this. But I'm not like wanting you to have a win, right? It doesn't really make a difference to me either way. I try to serve you, and I want to serve you, and I do serve you. So see, even as I'm going through this, I am killing the resistance, right? So you want to um, just come from a place of intention, of being able to not have it and be okay either way, because it doesn't really matter. I hope that makes sense. It just at the end of the day is, right? So I hope this makes sense, and I hope I've encouraged y'all to maybe, whoops, the ceiling tour of my office. Why not? And hopefully, as I've shown you guys this, you can understand that at the end of the day, um, if you're not having fun doing what you're doing, you're just in the mind. And if you're not being a little bit playful, and if you're not being like uh, detached of the outcome, as I said, one thing I always try to do on my sales call to be in mind of is because there's this natural flesh feeling of, I really need money, right? I need more money. Or I need to store the money that I have and like never spend it, right? Because gives you this feeling of security. And this is kind of the primal mind. I mean, the same kind of primal mind that your dog has instinctively. We need to start being over top that, right? Which is why we have a consciousness. We can be on top of that, of the material flesh type instinct, and start to be more intentional about what is the truth, right? And start living in that truth. So hopefully this helps. And if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them. If you guys want to, I don't know, receive a little more content like this, let me know. Okay. Till next time, see y'all. Bye.